Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's SwissTalk with Lucerne. We hope you're all doing well and would like to thank you all for taking the time to join us here today until we can actually meet in person again. So for those of you that don't know us, we are all here based in New York City today, working from our home office here with my background of my hometown with the beautiful castle. We have Natalie with her hometown of Basel, and we also have Maîté working from our office here in New York. We are your one-stop shop for anything that you need related to any RFPs or anything else Swiss related. So don't hesitate to contact us. But now let's get to today's SwissTalk. We have an exciting dating show coming up with Lucerne, and we'll cover more information on Switzerland in general after we have found our Valentine.
But before we begin dating, let's go through some technicalities. So first of all, we'd like to ask you to please all change your chat settings to panelists and attendees, so that everybody can see each other's comments and questions, and we can interact with each other and make the next 30 minutes fun and enjoyable for everyone. And we will also use the polls, so keep a lookout for that. And the webinar or the SwissTalk is actually being recorded as well, so you'll receive the link to that tomorrow. So you may be wondering what this dating show is.
Well, as Valentine is approaching soon, we want to spread some more Swiss love with you. So whether you have a Valentine or not, we would like you to be ours. And what can you do for that? All you have to do is you have to be attentive, have some fun, and interact with us when you're prompted to do so. And then the most engaged planner will then be chosen afterwards by a very important jury and receive a surprise box of Swiss chocolate for the next 6 months. Who wouldn't want that? So good luck, everyone. And now let's virtually fly you to Switzerland for the next part.
As we are flying virtually across the Atlantic with our partner Swiss International Airlines, we thought we would ask you, are you or your clients actually looking at Switzerland right now, or at Europe for that matter?
So please use the poll here to let us know when you see the first opportunity to bring a group to Switzerland.
Okay, we see some votes coming in. Oh, going faster now, good. About half are in. Just give you a few more seconds. We appreciate your input here. 80%, almost there. A few more before I share the results. Okay. I think we have the majority, so let me share the results now.
It'll be interesting to see. I'm sure we are all eager to travel sooner than we can. So what is the reality? So we see that it's kind of a split between Q3, 4 of next year. And also, you know, obviously with the current situation, nothing is planned for now. But it's not as a surprise, to be honest. When we were doing this, we were thinking it's probably going to be more like around 2023. So good, positive news. Good for that.
And until you can bring your groups to Switzerland again, let's see if Lucerne would actually make a good match for you. So after an 8-hour flight from the east coast of North America, we arrive at Zurich Airport.
So welcome to Switzerland, everyone. The good news is to travel to Lucerne is really short. It's less than an hour from Zurich. But just before we're getting to Lucerne, we're very eager to hear from you. Who has actually been to Lucerne in the past? So you can share that in the chat box. Okay, we have, yeah, oh, I see some names that I recognize, and we've actually traveled together too. So that's, yeah, very good. In the dreams, yeah, we can make dreams come true. We have to wait a little bit for that. Okay, some interesting Zurich brand, but not Lucerne yet. Good, good. Keep them coming. We will review all those later as well, of course. But with no further delay, I mean, obviously, some of you will then have already met our host. And for those of you that haven't, it is now my great pleasure to introduce you to Sergio and Jana, your local experts for anything Lucerne and region related. and they will take you on your dating show. So the floor is yours. Have fun.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Valentine show. Let me just put up my screen. We are delighted to have so many of you with us today. And as Caroline and Natalie mentioned before, we are looking for our Valentine. Now, just very quickly, how this is going to go. So we will actually live through the most important points in a relationship together. For each of those moments, we will give you a choice of 3 different options, which you could explore in our region. So you can then choose which is your favorite. Please put that in the chat box at the end of each section. And our surprise guest speaker will then, in the end, be the judge, choosing our Valentine based on the engagement during the show. And as Caroline mentioned before, the winner will get 6 months of free Swiss chocolate supplies. Now, before we start with the show, you might ask yourself, why should you be our Valentine? We are looking for ours, but we obviously want you to give you a taste of why we are a great Valentine ourselves, and therefore we have invited a very special guest speaker, which is Jen Murphy from Atlas Travel Meetings and Incentive. She was actually our last year's Valentine. She even came to visit us here in Lucerne exactly a year ago. We spent 2 fun-filled days together. Unfortunately, due to the long distance, we couldn't really make it work in a relationship, but we do stay close friends. And that's why she is here today to give you a little insight into why we are the perfect Valentine.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much first to the Switzerland Tourism Board and Convention Visitors Bureau. I'm so excited to be here, especially as Sergio mentioned. It's been exactly 1 year ago today that my group landed in Zurich. We actually started with a 1-week ski trip in Davos, which is fantastic as well. And when we always offer a 2-night optional extension in a city location. And when we were trying to find the right destination to do this, we had to take into consideration that this was an optional extension trip and it needed to work logistically with having a group in Davos and then having them fly home out of Zurich. So Lucerne, from a destination standpoint, fit the bill immediately. And what's great about Lucerne is that even though it's a city, it's definitely feels more like a town where you can easily walk around, and our group had no problems navigating through the city. We literally got into Lucerne in the middle of the day, got off the motor coach, checked into the hotel, and then the group just hit the ground running and really got to experience a lot of the local culture right away. And so that was really important for our group. And then the next day, we actually started with our official program and took them on a walking tour, got them to stretch their legs a bit with a guided tour. So they got to really understand why Lucerne is such a great historical significance of Switzerland. And then after that, we of course had to have lunch in a local spot. So we picked one of the best breweries that I've been to. They did a fantastic job of accommodating the group for lunch. And of course, in Swiss fashion, kept us running on schedule so that we can make our afternoon cruise on Lake Lucerne. So we were able to get out onto the lake and enjoy the beautiful mountain vistas from the beauty of the boat. And actually, we got to see a lot of venues that you're going to see today from the boat, which is great. And then the next day was our last day in Lucerne. But because our flights didn't leave Zurich until the evening, we were really lucky in that we actually had almost another full day. So some people in our group walked to the Museum of Transport, which you'll see a little bit later in this presentation. And at the end of the day, the group got on the motor coach and we're heading back to the airport. And they said, it was one of the best extension trips they'd had, because after a week of skiing, they don't want to go to a major city, but they wanted to feel like they were getting a great mix of culture, fantastic dining, and just natural beauty. We also really lucked out because that happened to be the start of pre-Carnival. So I'll let Sergio talk about Carnival, but we were there for the beginning of it. And what was nice about that is that we were able to really experience a cultural activity with Swiss people that travel from all over Switzerland to come and celebrate Carnival. So it was really nice to be able to interact with the locals as well. So we had a fantastic time, and it was great being able to plan the trip with the Convention and Visitors Bureau, especially since I had attended Swiss Travel Mart industry event the October prior. So I met a lot of great contacts, including Natalie and Sergio. You see them in the photo with me. They were my personal escorts to all the activities. And so it was really great getting to meet everybody and having an opportunity to see how easily the program could work from a logistics standpoint, as well as just having a great time. So enjoy.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jen, for giving us this insight. Yeah, we do actually have a lot of cultural activities going on, and as Jen just mentioned it before, Carnival would actually usually start tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock. So we are all very sad that it's not going to happen this year, but let's hope for next year, and maybe you can build that into your program if you come with a group or the year after.
Right.
Now let's dive into.
Jennifer Squillass had a question. She asked what kind of group I brought. It was actually a ski club that does an annual ski club trip that I brought.
Perfect. All right, now let's get into our dating show. As I mentioned before, we will live through our relationship together, and to introduce you to the different categories, I have brought along our assistant, Jana. She will always introduce the different categories, and I will then give you the choices. Jana, there you go.
So let me set the scene for you first. We met online, and after messaging back and forth for a few days, it is now time for a first date. Where would you like to go?
So we do have 3 fantastic choices for you here. The first one would be a candlelight dinner on Mount Stanzerhorn. Mount Stanzerhorn is located just 20 minutes outside of the city of Lucerne by train, and you can actually privatize the whole mountain. So you will have those beautiful views that you can see on the pictures, all for to yourself and your group, obviously. We would obviously splurge and rent the whole mountain out just for the 2 of us to have a very romantic first date on top of a mountain. If that's a bit too high up for you, we could also just do a dinner cruise on Lake Lucerne. You have the choice of 20 different boats that are on the lake, and they vary in sizes and styles. So the smallest one is actually for 40 people if you want to have it a bit more intimate, or if you want to splurge and feel like a bit of a chat set lady or gentleman on the first date. We could also rent out one of the historic paddle steamers or one of the big yachts that can fit up to 1,000 people. If that's not yours either, we can just keep it very casual and do a romantic dinner at the Art Deco Hotel Montana. The hotel with 61 rooms is located on a hill overlooking the city of Lucerne, so you will get those beautiful views that you see in the pictures. And it is actually one of the best restaurants in town, so we would definitely have a very culinary high-standing first date. Now you can answer or you can put in your answers into the chat box, but I'd like to ask Jen, what would your choice be out of the 3?
Well, I guess I'd have to go with the mountains, since that's always my favorite place to be. And I couldn't imagine a more romantic first date than a candlelit dinner on top of Mount Stanzerhorn.
Perfect. I do have a slight technical issue. I can't see the chat right now. So Jana, maybe you can tell me if we have answers in.
Yes, it seems like a lot of people are going with Jen for Mount Stanzerhorn, and there are no questions so far.
That is definitely a very good choice and a very unique experience. Now, if we move on from our first date, what would be next, Jana?
So our first date went really well, and many more followed. After 3 very happy years together, we are ready to pop the question. But where and how should we propose to you?
Thank you. And again, we do have some very unique options. The first one would be during a outdoors ibex safari on Mount Pilatus. Mount Pilatus is our home mountain, and as you can see on the picture on the left-hand side, it is really close to the city. You can actually be on top of the mountain within 1 hour from the city center, so that's definitely unique. Now, the way the ibex safari works is that we would actually go up the mountain the night before and spend the night in one of the 2 hotels that we have on the top. There's 50 rooms in total, and obviously meeting facilities as well. And there's a great restaurant, so we could have another romantic night on top of a mountain. At 5 o'clock in the morning, we would then go out on the mountain and to see the ibex in their life natural habitat. We would go out with a ranger, of course, and he would tell us all about why those animals are so unique. I think that would be a perfect spot to pop the question. If you don't think so, another choice, we could do it very publicly during a concert at the Lucerne Festival. As Jen mentioned in the beginning, we do have a lot of cultural activities, and one of the most well-known is the Lucerne Festival, which is one of the premier classical music festivals in the world. It's hosted at the KKL Lucerne, which is our main conference and culture center, directly next to the train station in the middle of town. And the Congress Center features 14 rooms for a maximum of 1,500 people. Amongst these rooms is the Salle Blanche that you can see on the top right-hand corner, which is a beautiful hall. So we could do it very publicly if you prefer that, or we could do it very casual again during a visit in one of the many museums in Lucerne. Jen told you a bit about the Museum of Transport in the beginning. This is actually the largest museum of its kind in Europe, and it can be privatized for dinner functions after opening hours. It also has a Congress Center, and it is just a very unique venue to bring your group to. If you really like the arts, you could go to the Rosengart collection, which actually has the largest collection of Picasso paintings outside of Spain, and also can be privatized. Or we could go to the Glacier Garden, where you can learn all about how this famous Swiss Alps were formed in the last ice age. Now, again, please make your choice, put it in the chat box. And Jen, which one would be your choice?
This one was a really tough choice because I've actually been to all three venues. I've been lucky enough to see all of them, and they each have a really romantic setting for a proposal. But I'd actually have to say the Museum of Transport. There is a really cool wall that's outside of the museum within the courtyard that has all of these signs from all over Switzerland. And there are a few that are actually misprinted, and you're supposed to walk around and see if you can figure out which ones are incorrect. So I think it'd be really cool to kind of stage a "Will you marry me" on one of those signs as part of the proposal.
That's certainly a very good idea, and I'll keep that in my mind for personal use. Now, Jana, how's the chat box looking?
Yeah, we do have a lot of answers, and there's a question on how you get to the top of Mount Pilatus.
So there's actually two ways. You can go up from the side of the city of Lucerne with the aerial cable car, which takes you 30 minutes to get to the top, or you can circle the mountain and go up from the backside with the steepest cogwheel train in the world. That will take you 40 minutes to get from the lake level up to the mountain at just about 7,000 feet. And what's the favorite choice?
It seems like the ibex are winning. Yeah.
So you guys really like the mountains then. That's good. All right, moving on to our third category.
So you did say yes, we cannot wait to spend the rest of our lives together. Now let's find the perfect location for the big day. Where should we tie the knot?
Here we also have three very different options for you. The first one is a historic castle by the lake. There's a couple of them. One example is the St. Charles Hall, located in a park right on the lake shores. We could have a beautiful reception outside with a bit of music, then have the festive gala dinner inside in one of the big halls and have the party just right next door. So very convenient and definitely very unique. If you like it a bit more modern, we could also do it in one of the modern style venues in the city center, as for example, the Starklarhalle in Emmen, which used to be a workshop for bicycles and cars and has been transformed into one of the hippest locations in town at the moment. If that's not your thing either, we could do something very special, and we could actually have a captain's wedding on the lake. So we would actually get ordained by a captain while cruising on Lake Lucerne. And then we could choose if we want to have the celebrations on the boat as well. As I mentioned before, there's a boat for each size, or if we want to combine it with a onshore venue. Now, again, put your answers into the chat box. And Jen, what would you choose?
So this is also a really tough one. There's so many great venues to choose from, but I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to have the wedding at the Schloss Megenhorn which is right on the lake, and then maybe follow up by having a post-party cocktail cruise on the lake.
You're full of great ideas. I love it. So Jana, how's the chat looking?
We do have a lot of answers again, and once again, it's option number 1, the St. Charles Hall, that people are most fond of.
Perfect.
And
Any
no
questions?
No.
Questions. All right, then let's move on to our last category, if you may, Jana.
So after the big party on the best day of our lives, we are ready for our honeymoon. Where would you like to go?
Perfect. So the Lake Lucerne region actually has a lot to offer outside the city as well. And we as the CVB cover the whole region. So even if it's a mountain retreat, we can help you with that. So the first option would be an outdoor active holiday in Andermatt. Andermatt is a ski resort located just 1 hour drive from Lucerne. In the summertime, it offers a lot of hiking and biking. And in winter, it actually is the largest ski resort in central Switzerland. The town is actually being developed into a massive resort at the moment. So hotel choices are varied. We would have the Radisson Blu, for example, which is a really nice mountain style 4-star property, or the world famous the Jetty Andermatt, if you want to go a bit more luxurious. Talking about luxurious, the second one, if you don't like to go to the mountains, could be a spa retreat by the lake. We could, for example, go to the Park Hotel Visinand, which is a 5-star superior leading hotels of the world property. It's an all-suite hotel with only 47 rooms. And as you can see, it is very, very luxurious with an infinity edge pool going into the lake. It has a 1-star and a 2-star Michelin restaurant. So we would definitely get very well treated in that resort. If you like it a bit more bustling, we can also just do a city break in the Schweizerhof in Lucerne. The Schweizerhof is a premier 5-star property in the center of Lucerne with 101 rooms. And it also features one of the most impressive gala rooms in all of Switzerland for up to 500 people. Obviously here we could combine it with the nightlife in Lucerne, with the museums and cultural activities, as we mentioned before. Now, one last time, put your answers into the chat box, and I'll go back to Chen to see what she thinks.
Well, it's always a tough choice, but in this instance, I am a mountain girl through and through. So I'd have to say I would love to honeymoon in Andermatt, but I would probably do all my pre-wedding preparations at the Schweizerhof. So that would be where I get ready for the wedding and have all my guests stay there. So maybe a little both.
I like how you keep combining the different options. Obviously, that's a choice as well to get the best.
It's like it's going to be like a 3-week wedding.
Exactly. All right, Jana, do we have the answers in, and are there any questions?
We do have the answers, and there was one question on ideas for après-ski in Andermatt.
Yeah, in Andermatt, we actually do have something very unique for après-ski. We do have an après-ski train that goes between Andermatt and Sedrun. Both of the towns are within the ski resort, and you can go back and forth. It takes you about half an hour, and it actually has a built-in bar. It has music in there with a DJ, so you can have a bit of après-ski already on the train, which certainly is something very, very unique. All right. Well, thank you so much for participating. Now it is actually up to our guest speaker, Chen, because she knows us so well, to choose who's going to be our Valentine for this year.
Great. Well, there was a lot of activity in the chat. It was really great to see so many excited people about the destination. I can personally say that it is a wonderful place to visit. So I definitely encourage everybody, once we're able to start moving again, I encourage everybody to try and visit Lucerne with or without other destinations. You really can spend a week there. I think it was pretty obvious with Sergio's presentation that there's a lot to see and a lot to do there. I actually think that Sarah, and I apologize if I don't say the last name correctly, Bookbinder, was definitely one of our most active participants today in our Valentine.
Perfect. We send you our love.
Well done, Sarah. Happy to hear that you are our new Valentine, passed over from Jen. But of course, Jen, thank you so much for all you do within Atlas Travel for Switzerland, and you are our great ambassador, which I'm sure everybody can only agree with. And it's always fun working with you and trying to find out new venues, new places, like new routes, new bars for the groups and what have you. So thank you very much for that. And we'll be in touch with you, Sarah. So now, should you have had any, I don't know, do we have any questions in there or no? No, we're actually good. Thank you also Sergio and Jana. Personally, one of my favorite was the après-ski trail for sure. Like, I like the sound of that a lot. I can imagine me there. But now, obviously, for the next 5 minutes, we're very aware of time. We will give you some insights on the current situation of Switzerland, because I'm sure many of you are also interested to know what's happening there. And for those of you that are not that familiar with the destination, we'll give you a very quick refresher. And at the end, we may even have another little surprise for someone else of our dating show today.
Wow, so many surprises. Well, unfortunately, it's not quite the surprise to everyone, but yes, we were able to hold meetings again in Switzerland last year with our new clean and safe protocols in place. But as you may be aware, Europe, most of Europe is back in lockdown, as is Switzerland, since a few weeks now. Meaning that it is a light lockdown in Switzerland, so all non-essential stores are currently closed, including restaurants, and everybody who can be is in home office. However, schools are still open as of now, and as we know, the situation changes so quickly, so you know, who knows what happens in the next couple of weeks or months, but it is expected to continue like that for a little while. Canadian and American citizens are still not allowed to enter Switzerland, so we'll have to wait until the travel restrictions are lifted. And once that is the case, I'm sure there will be adapted regulations in terms of quarantine and entry, etc. So if you are interested in current, up-to-date, and much more specific information, please refer to our government website, and you can find that on the link here. You will also receive that tomorrow in our follow-up.
And just in case you were wondering what the vaccination situation is, well, the whole process started in December, and I'm happy to say that both Natalie's and my parents have had their second shot already. So it's looking good. We're very hopeful and hope that the situation will be improving.
Indeed. Thanks, Caroline, and let's keep our fingers crossed. So if you do look at Lucerne as a destination for your group, we highly recommend combining it with another destination so you can experience more. However, you can also always do day trips and short excursions. As you see, the central location allows for that easily, and the short distances make it so much easier and more fun also to see a lot in such little time. For example, did you know that you can visit 3 countries in one day from many Swiss destinations?
Yes, indeed, you can easily do country hopping, but the good news is also that Switzerland actually has so much itself to offer that we can guarantee you that your groups will have some memorable experiences. Switzerland really has a wealth of offerings when it comes to sites, activities, gastronomy, all really depending on what region you choose to be in. As you see from these pictures, believe it or not, all that is possible in one day. You can easily go up to a glacier in the morning, then you're surrounded by palm trees in the afternoon before you go to one of those stunning vineyards and taste the excellent Swiss wine. And then you have your dinner in a medieval city in the evening, all within one day. So not just that, but it's even Europe in a nutshell, like we like to say it.
And while our public transportation system is very renowned and reliable and clean, as you may have heard, we are aware that you may be in need of something more private and safe these days. So a recommendation here would be the Churchill train that you see here on the picture, which was obviously named after Winston Churchill, who used to use it when he traveled within Switzerland. You can charter this train for up to 110 people with or without catering, and can have it go from any destination to any destination you want within the country.
Yes, and I was just looking at, like, it's kind of hard, I'm sure you will know, trying to present and read the questions at the same time, but I know that some of you have actually been on this train before, so I hope that you agree with us that it is fun to be on that train. It's very easy to get from one point to the other. And if you are into that special private treatment, are there any other suggestions you might have, Natalie?
Yes, we actually also have several hotel buyout options across the country. Here we have an example in the Bern region, right on Lake Brienz in the background. This is the Grand Hotel Giesbach, which has 70 rooms and suites and is actually also a popular wedding property, hint, hint. But as you may know, Switzerland also does not have any resort fees, and breakfast is included in most hotels. And we also have the lowest VAT in Europe for accommodation at only 3.7%. So speaking of venues, do we have any exciting updates to share, Maîté?
Yes, we do, and you can find them all on our website here, and we will give you and send you the links tomorrow. And one of the most recent opening that is very fitting for today's Valentine's edition is the Home of Chocolates, located in Zurich. Actually, I had the opportunity to visit it before coming to New York City, and I really can tell you it's worth it, especially the giant chocolate fountain that you can see on the picture. But I won't give away too much because we will talk about it during our next webinar together with Derek in March.
Thank you so much, Maîté. So before coming to the end, sadly, we would like to spread more Swiss love, though. We're all about love these days. And we want to be here for you in any possible way that we can during this difficult time. So whether you have created a New Year's resolution or not, if you're anything like us, you wouldn't mind having an accountability buddy to help you reach your goals. So let us be yours. Why don't you email us one of your resolutions by the end of this week? And then we make sure that we'll remind you in 6 months' time of how you're doing. And depending on how well you're on track, there's a little treat in for you. So just email us your resolution. We won't share it, obviously. We'll keep it for us, but then we'll remind you. So now we'd like to thank you all sincerely for your time today. We hope that you were able to be transported for 30 minutes to Switzerland, but in particular to Lucerne here. And if you are interested in more information about the Lindt Home of Chocolate that you heard all about from Maîté, then please join us on March 10th for our upcoming one. And we know that there's been a lot happening in the chat. We will review it as well. We're aware of the time again, so you can just stay online. We're happy to stay on here and answer you any questions. You can reach out to us at any time. But otherwise, we'd like to thank, in particular, Jen for all her contribution, for being a wonderful ambassador to Switzerland, and Sergio and Jana directly live from Lucerne. They can't wait to start their carnival at 5 a.m. And otherwise, stay safe, healthy, positive, and reach out to us at any time with anything that we can possibly assist you with. And we hope to see you all very, very, very soon. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
So we will just look out for if there's any questions or anything that comes in.
Nothing as of yet. Oh, interesting question. I'm not sure if anybody knows this, but what is the boxing culture like in Switzerland?
Maybe Sergio. I go straight to the guy.
I know that they have staged some big matches in the past, but it's not like a massive thing, I don't think.
We have wrestling, which is a natural sport, which is a nation sport.
Exactly. And
actually, ironically, I can actually answer that one too. There are a lot of boxing gyms there, and I know that because I actually take martial arts here in the United States. And when I was there, I thought maybe I'd take a class internationally. So they did have places, they just weren't open on the days that I was in Lucerne.
Cool. Next time I'll ask you.
Yes.
So another question, this one is definitely for Sergio. What usually happens during Carnival?
Well, to put it in a nutshell, it's basically Carnival goes on for a week and everyone dresses up. They go out on the streets. It's basically an outdoor party. You have a lot of Carnival bands that will be playing. Those are groups of like 40, 50 people that play music together. So you'll have them going on all over the place. Outdoor bars, a lot of music, a lot of drinking, just a lot of fun. And it's basically, the background is that we want to chase away the spirits of winter by making as much noise as we can. So that's why it's very loud, very colorful, but very out there.
Exactly. And if I can add to that, since you heard I'm from Basel, beautiful in my background here, Basel actually has one of the largest carnivals, I think in Europe, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a little bit different in Basel. It's much more like a giant parade, basically. But the essence is the same as everywhere in Switzerland. So it's also a unique experience if you do more than just one across the country. And I think that was it with questions.
Yeah, Switzerland is all about traditions. You go to different areas, it's, you know, different culture, traditions, food, drinks, mentality. We're 4 languages, so you really feel it with the languages as well, with the people, interactions.
Indeed. Okay. So if there's no more questions, I think we can end it here.
Thank you everyone again. And any other feedback you want to share with us, or, you know, like what you'd like to see more? I mean, we have a whole series of these coming up, each one with a little surprise. So tune in for the next one.
Exactly. And any questions, you can always email us at scib.usa@switzerland.com, including your resolutions.
Yeah. Or reach out to Jen. She knows a lot.
Exactly. All right. I can find my mouse again. All right. So thank you, everyone, and goodbye.
Bye-bye. Take care. Be safe. Stay sane.
Thank you.